Okay. Hi, everyone, and welcome to our weekly Shuup webcast. And thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Daria. I'll be hosting this webcast, and I'm here with Wes. He's our technical sales director at Shuup. Hi, Wes.
Hey, Daria.
Hi. Today, we'll be talking about how to make your B2B marketplace successful, how to plan and build a successful marketplace. So, Wes, you are working very closely with Shuup customers and you help them implement their business ideas, communicate them to developers, and make them real. I can imagine that not everybody who talks to you, who comes to you, is a technical person, and not everybody has had any experience with e-commerce marketplaces. So they might be a little lost making the right call when it comes to marketplace functionality and planning and business strategies. So how does a person make a marketplace successful, and what are these things actually that make it successful? And in the first place, how do you even define, how do you know that the marketplace is a success? Could you please share some insights with us?
Okay, I promise to answer all those questions, but maybe not in the same order that you just said.
Of course.
So, um, like, yeah, basically, like we can get into like a lot of these questions that you're bringing up here. Like, what makes a successful marketplace? Like, what are the cornerstones of planning a marketplace? Um, so this is kind of what our goal is here today. If we kind of skip through, largely the way I think about working with these marketplaces is that you first always should think about your customer. Customer's always first. So for a multi-vendor e-commerce platform, there's really two customer groups. There's the vendors, which you're trying to sign up to sell on your multi-vendor platform. And then there's the actual customers themselves who are buying products from the vendors that you're signing up. So having a multi-vendor e-commerce store is like having two masters at the same time. The vendors want, new services, customers want new products, and you're sort of the middleman moderating the two. The next thing we have to really talk about is like the general business strategy. Like I approach these in a way that, Boston Consulting Group, McKinsey or Bain would approach it. What's your revenue? What's your cost model? How are you making money? What's your break-even point? Can the market even support your presence? Does your marketplace idea even really make sense to begin with? So finally, we have to talk about your timeline to launch. Everyone wants their marketplace ASAP. They always want it the next day. And multi-vendor marketplaces are not next day operations. They take months of planning to launch successfully. And then after the marketplace is actually done, we're talking about, what now that you have the marketplace and it's running, what are you going to be doing to grow your own business for the next 3, 6 to 12 months after we're actually done with your project? So
I see that you ask your customers a lot of questions to help them navigate them through the planning process. But could you please tell me more about what you said in the beginning about the customer, that you need to think about the customer in the first place? Who is this customer?
yeah, so we can jump over to the next one. So like, who's your customer in the end? Like I come from a pretty simple family. Like your customer is the person giving your money today. So that's like the simple, the short of it, to be honest. So like at the beginning, like your vendors, are going to be most likely your primary customer, where you are, charging some sort of commission to them. They're subscribing to your system. So you're trying to provide a service to them to give them more access to customers on the internet, basically. So imagine all the internet customers on the internet, like they're trying to reach them and you're helping them. But at the same time, end users can be your customer as well if you're charging customer fees, which is sometimes done by e-commerce platforms where rather than charging commissions to the vendor, there's commissions actually go charge the customer for providing the service to begin with. So you can do both these at the same time, or you're charging fees to both and they're both your customer at the same time. So like these are the things that we really have to like be thinking about in terms of who's your customer.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's very interesting. Actually, I never thought myself about different ways of doing it. But this is a very nice business plan right there, that your customers can choose how they want their marketplace to be built. They either will charge commissions or for subscription subscription fees to their vendors, or then the end customers, the end users, the people who actually will be buying the product, they also can just pay a service fee. But can we jump back to the general strategy and planning the marketplace? What
Yeah.
kind of questions can people ask themselves at this point, so they can plan it better and just understand where they're going with this?
Yeah, so I always tell people, imagine you're on Shark Tank and you're telling five, like, VC guys who are breaking your chains about, like, what's your business? How are you going to make money? Why am I going to give you money? Like, tell me why you're different. Like, I try not to be so aggressive, but they're the same questions. Like, what's your value add? What makes you different? What makes you unique? Like, what's going to drive traffic to your marketplace? Why are they going to go to you versus going to Amazon? Like, how will you draw vendors to your site? Because now, just because you have a great, technology, or, great marketing, or great, UI or UX experience, you actually have to have quality vendors in your marketplace to sell products. Once you have the vendors, like, how are you actually going to make your money? Is it subscriptions, commissions, customer service fees? Are you going to be integrating Google AdSense to generate ad revenue? Or are you actually going to be choosing to do advertisements for the vendors on your platform to generate income? Then after that, like, we talk about, like, how are you going to pay your bills? Nothing in this world's free. So, like, some of the most common bills for multi-vendor marketplaces are hosting, support from, developers, technical agents of these e-commerce platforms, monthly license fees. And then if you're building custom solutions, you also need to be paying developer time. So we have to be looking at all this from the beginning of the project through the life of the project to make sure that the revenue models that you're choosing will actually support the costs that you'll be incurring.
I see. But when it comes to e-commerce, what kind of questions would you ask your customers?
Yeah, so, like, when it comes, like, straight to, like, going to e-commerce, sorry, I'm kind of jumping around a little bit. So, like, the three key questions is, like, what kind of products are you going to be selling? Like, how are you going to handle the orders? And, like, what are your UI UX benchmarks? These are, like, almost the three fundamental questions that we're going to get into. So, there's a lot of different ways that we can look at products. For example, like, we can do on Shuup, for example, we can do stockable products, we can do bookable products, and we can do digital products, where stockables are, like, consumer or durable products that you're actually selling to a customer. They're buying it, they're putting it in their garage so they can sell it in 20 years at a garage sale. So the next one is the bookables, where this is sort of living in your calendar, like, yoga sessions, haircuts, rentals for cars, live events for music venues. Specifically, they're time-based, like monthly or daily based sort of services that you're purchasing. And then digitals are just things that live on your computer, like coupon codes, audio, video, live streaming. These are all sort of things that you can purchase on a Shuup marketplace, but you could generally buy it on any e-commerce site if they specifically have the service.
I see. But because businesses are so different, but are there any multi-business functionalities that a marketplace must have in order to be successful that you could probably start with? What do customers need to think about in the first place in terms of marketplace functionality?
Yeah, so the things that you really need from a multi-vendor site is that you need a multi-vendor checkout with multi-vendor shipping. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, if you're doing stockables or even bookable products, it doesn't actually make sense to have all these vendors and sell all of them at the same time. And then when a customer goes to check out, they can't have them in one basket. Like, that just doesn't actually make sense in the end. Like, I would basically tell anybody that's not a multi-vendor marketplace. They just happen to have multiple brands on it. The next thing is that once you have them in the cart and you're in the checkout, each vendor needs their own shipping method. Carriers, UPS, FedEx, they're all going to have their different rates. So, for example, say you have JCPenney and they want to branch out and maybe start doing some retail for an enterprise client on their marketplace. Like, I'm sure JCPenney has much better FedEx shipping rates than an individual person based on volume of shipping. So this is why multi-vendor shipping on checkout is very important. The next thing is you're going to need separate vendors during the actual order creation process. So if you have 5 vendors and you have 5 shipping methods and you're all, and they're all being checked out in one order, what are you going to do with that order once the checkout's complete? How are you going to give vendors access to that order information? Are you going to give all 5 vendors access to all of the 5 other vendors, like catalogs information? Or are you going to split that up into 5 separate orders for them to manage? Shuup, for example, we split the orders. So each vendor gets a unique order reference number that they can use to track their own parts of a customer order. If you don't have this minimum functionality, like the multi-vendor marketplace is just not going to work properly. And then in the end is like vendor payment splitting, where on the checkout, you've created multiple orders, like you've created multiple shippings, and you've brought them all into the basket, but in the end, everybody wants their money as fast as possible. So it's important that the money is being able to be split effectively during the checkout process. If you're trying to send money before the orders are fulfilled, you have to have the logic there to complete that task.
I see. But I still have another question, because a shop owner, a multi-vendor marketplace owner, probably need to somehow moderate and admin the vendors, the customers, just the whole marketplace. Are there any cornerstones that you need to keep in mind? What are the best solutions for administrating this multi-vendor marketplace?
Yeah, this is the really difficult part. So I get this question all the time. So what do admins and moderators need to be doing to run a successful marketplace? It all comes down to negotiating tactics and leverage in the marketplace. So the first point I have here is that the admin moderator should collect all the money upon sale. Like, this is not everyone agrees with me, and this is not like a scientific, axiom or theorem. This is not Newton's law of gravity. These are my opinions, that the admin moderator should collect all the money upon sale. And the reason for this is that as a marketplace grows over time, you can have easily thousands of vendors selling in your marketplace, and administrating them all continuously become difficult. And there's no way to guarantee that a vendor that was behaving ethically a year ago is going to be behaving ethically, now. So you want to be still collecting the money in case, their products fail to ship, the products are damaged, there's issues with it, and customers want a refund. When they want the refund, they're not going to go to looking for like the vendor. They're going to be looking at your page first. They're going to be looking at your logo. They're going to be looking at your contact number, your contact address, your forms. It's affecting the admin moderator's brand when these things aren't handled correctly. So, I never get angry when I buy things at Amazon that are broken at the actual vendor who sold it to me. I'm always angry at Amazon for messing up the order. It's Amazon's fault. And right. In the end, it's probably not actually Amazon's fault. In the end, it's probably the actual person that I'm trying to consume from. The next thing is the admin needs to be approving all the vendors. They need to, this is about quality control. You need to know that you have vendors who are reputable, who are going to fulfill the orders, that they're placed with them, that they have the inventory that they claim. Additionally, you want to really make sure that these are real businesses and not, some shady companies. Appropriate words do not come to mind when I think about these situations, but
we don't want that. We want
we want to make sure that everyone is quality. The next thing is that the admin really needs to be approving all products initially for vendors. They can look legit when they sign up and you see their profile and you read their text, and then they put their products up and start selling them. And if you don't have any vulgarity or any of these types of controls, initially, you at least want to check the first couple products that they're legit, that they're not going to be inappropriate. These last few points are more about risk management from a vendor perspective. So if we look at Stripe, for example, Stripe is a payment processor that we use at Shuup. It's ubiquitous in the e-commerce market. It's just everywhere. And they require all users to make a Stripe account. during checkout. There's some use cases where you don't need one, but almost always you're forming a Stripe account. And when you set up your account, you're giving your personal name, your phone number, your address, your business, your tax ID, like your bank account numbers, like you basically are selling your soul to Stripe. And the reason they do this is to verify that you are actually a human being and that your company actually exists. And this is because, like, if they were not performing these checks, theoretically, they could be contributing to state-sponsored, like, terrorism, where they're actually funding Al Qaeda, or the caliphate, and that would be a one ticket to shut down in the United States. The Stripe would be gone immediately if this ever came out. So they needed to be doing these checks. And Stripe is a massive multi-billion-dollar company at this point. They're huge. Our customers are wishing to be on that level. And as they grow, they should be collecting tax IDs, business addresses, verifying articles of incorporation. It's like an American term, which is really the paperwork verifying that the company was formed correctly and is in good standing. And really, when they're really getting to scale, when they're onboarding new vendors, when their brand becomes more powerful, they should be running credit checks on their vendors as well to make sure that they actually have a valid credit history, that they're not in debt, or there's no basically legal liens or issues on their books. Because in the end, you want these kind of vendors selling on your marketplace.
So Stripe will be doing it for you.
Stripe will do it for you for the payment processing. But with other, you don't necessarily have to use Stripe. So you could be using WorldPay as your payment processor. You could be using PayPal. You could be using a lot of other different payment systems that might not thoroughly check. And for small B2B or B2C businesses, maybe this is not so imperative at first. They're more in the startup process in their life cycle. We're talking about maybe 5-10 years, looking long-term at building stable legal compliance. We want to be verifying that people are who they say they are. To just, it's more covering your butt in the end.
Makes sense. Well, I can see the reasons to use a reliable payment provider. Just
Definitely,
to be on the safe side.
Oh yeah, we always recommend Stripe. That's our number one payment provider. And like, if Stripe if you're listening, endorse us. So you're a number one, baby. So
they should definitely cut you some cut.
Yeah. So yeah, we leverage Stripe heavily because of this, because they really check the background of each account that's on their platform.
Do you offer Stripe to your customers a lot?
Yeah, we offer like Stripe Connect, which allows them to put their platform within Stripe and allow other vendors with Stripe accounts to connect their accounts to the platform account. So we could do a separate talk on that. That's very complicated stuff. And maybe someone more technical than me, like we can get Panu, Christian, that's really the socialites of the company.
Really interesting. But we also make tutorial videos on Stripe, and you have a shipping service, Shippo, integrated with Shuup. So we make videos separately on those topics, and it's very interesting and educational to look at them and just to know how they work. But there's a lot of things to keep in mind, and I can imagine sometimes your customers, they make what it seems to them the right call, and then they might come back and say, "Oh, I wish I've done it differently."
Yeah.
So what are these? Let's put it this way. What are these common mistakes that people make when building a marketplace or planning a marketplace?
Yeah, so they make a lot of assumptions. Like everybody has shopped in multi-vendor marketplaces, whether it be eBay or Amazon. I guess my grandmother never bought anything off of Amazon, but we bought things for her off of Amazon at least. So they make a lot of assumptions based off their experience there. Oh, like Amazon does it this way, it must always work this way no matter what. And that is not actually true. Like Amazon built a system that works for Amazon, and you have to make a system that works for you. So if you think that something just comes as granted, like I guarantee you, it doesn't. Nothing comes for granted, like in this world. The next thing is that they get their marketplace done, and then they kind of look at us with this like deer in the headlights look. They look at us like, "Oh, like we're done," and we say, "Yes, you're done.
What now?
You're free." And they say, "Okay," and they kind of look at us. They don't know really what to do next. So this is why I said earlier that like in the beginning, like you should already have your plans laid about what you're going to do when you're done. And it's not like a flick of the switch that you're done and then you start doing things. You should be doing these throughout the development of your project, not just waiting to the very end and then you start, because custom marketplaces are not inexpensive ventures. You need to be ready to launch and start generating income on day one. And there's no reason you can't start at the beginning of the development cycle with Shuup, at least. The third point is lack of communication. This really falls back into the first point about assumptions. I always tell people that like don't make assumptions, don't take anything for granted. Like if you don't know something, ask. I mean, at least at Shuup, we'll always answer your questions, even if it's something technologically related. Like, do not let your case managers or developers tell you it's too complicated and they don't want to explain it. That's like it's unacceptable to me. Like they have to, you're paying their paychecks. Like they should explain it to you. Like that should come as a package deal that, if you're new to the e-commerce world and you're new to technology and you need consultations, this should be coming from your provider.
Do you provide these consultations to your customers?
Oh, I always do. I mean, my line's always open. My email is always there. I always try to make time to jump on with customers who have questions. So, because when our customers are successful, like Shuup is successful. When our customers are not successful, we're not successful. So like, I don't really understand how any business could expect it to survive if they're not partnering closely with their customers.
That's a nice way of looking at it.
So the last thing is don't really underestimate the importance of UI. Like Shuup comes with stock UI that we bring to all of our projects that all of our customers can leverage. It doesn't mean it's perfect. Like we know that there's improvements. So I always tell customers to allocate more money than they think to the UI, because that's ultimately what people are going to see. Maybe when I look at the project or when the developers look at project, we see Python scripts, we see JavaScript, we see Bash shell, we see Ubuntu. But we know when my mother looks at an e-commerce shop, she sees the shoes that she likes.
And whether it's difficult or not to buy them.
Yeah, whether it's difficult or not to buy them. So the UI is very important. Like you need to have quality images. It needs to be easy to buy them. So really think about the experience you want your customers to have. And while we provide default solutions for this that work pretty well, it doesn't mean they work for good for all use cases. Like, we provide a very generalized solution. If you need something more custom for your vertical, we should discuss that.
Back to lack of communication. Everything should be discussed.
Oh, everything is like, I think you get paid millions of dollars a year just by being an effective communicator, to be honest. So when I see Bill Gates, I just see a guy with a good mouth. So that's a little gross. Sorry for that, but he's good at talking if you listen to him on CNN.
He is.
So
can't take that away from him. So could you walk us through the takeaways of today's webcast, Wes?
Yeah.
I feel like we've discussed so many things.
Yeah. So I guess like from the takeaways I think everyone should have is like, in the beginning, you really need to do your research, planning, and strategizing. Next is you have to really focus on your communication. And then in the end is just ask as many questions as you can. When you're in these development projects with these developers, it's your one shot to ask all of the questions that you want to ask. And once that like development period's over, the developers start slowly fading away. And like get your questions in with the technical people while you have them on the phone, and don't let them hang up until you get everything you want from them.
Yeah, don't let them tell you it's too technical for you to understand. You can and you will understand.
Yeah, exactly.
They just have to explain it to you, right?
Exactly.
Well, I guess that was our agenda for today, and we covered pretty much everything you need to keep in mind when planning your own multi-vendor marketplace, and we really hope it will help you and it will anyhow navigate you. But now it's a very important time for you to ask questions if you have any, and just to put it out there, if you're watching this as a recording on YouTube, you can always email your questions to us at contact@shuup.com and we'll be happy to answer them. But are there any questions to Wes, our technical sales director, right now?
feel like I should do this in the auction house, like
Yeah,
starting at
probably.
$5. Do I hear 6? Do I hear
Probably.
7?
And it means that you need to pay them.
Yeah. Okay, there's one thing coming in the chat. Can you speak to emails to customers? Do you, I can't speak more about this. Do you mean specifically marketing emails, trying to reach out to customers, or do you, like, what, in what context? No, I can't hear you. It's the,
It's a one-way
yeah, it's a
communication.
one-way communication. So I might actually, I'm not as a technical expert, I know nothing about Zoom.
That's reassuring.
Yeah.
But while they're typing, sometimes you get asked this question about emailing customers, right, from the marketplace, or you know what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
talking about.
Oh, yeah, emails related to transactions.
Right. Yeah.
So on on the Shuup's platform, we have a events and notification system. So when specific events happen on the marketplace, such as order completions, password resets, new contacts, new form submissions, etc. There's a lot of different events that we can track. We connect these and route them through through an SMTP server and route them directly to your email with a link where you can follow up with the contact information. Also within Shuup, we generate contact lists where they can accept like GDPR compliance type of questions, and then you can actually put them straight into your MailChimp account to do marketing emails.
Did it answer your question?
Yeah, is that sufficient?
Do you mind?
Oh, yeah. Well, we do offer custom development.
Yeah,
So we have custom development projects available.
Yeah, there is a lot of customization actually going in the projects, because whatever you see in the sandbox when you request a demo, it's just something to demonstrate all functionality that we could have thought of, but it doesn't necessarily need to be just like that in your marketplace. And of course, it can be customized, and some things can be taken out if you don't need them. And if you can think of anything you need, we can add it there. So it's always like this. And of course, the UI is customized as well.
Yeah, and then to be followed up, it'd be great to understand better the life cycle of a subscription in Shuup. Well, I actually probably need more information. Are you speaking regarding to our licensing for the platform, or our subscription-based products within as a product?
Let's see, more follow-up comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're really sorry, but sometimes we do need a little more information to answer your questions, because we have all the Shuup functionality in mind, and different kinds of subscriptions, whether you're talking about vendor subscriptions on your platform, or just your subscription to Shuup and licensing.
Yeah, so we do have a system for vendor plans. I believe this is what you're asking about, where a vendor could actually subscribe to the platform. Is this what you're referring to?
We had it in our slides. If you're talking about subscriptions to the platform, that vendors can pay a subscription fee to use your platform and sell on your platform. Or you can, for example, change your end customers, people who will be buying the vendors' products or whatever they're selling, and they can pay a service fee instead of charging vendors. And it will probably result in the same
Yeah.
prices. So
Yeah.
you can use both. You can divide it a little bit in
Yeah.
between them.
And then additionally with the vendor subscriptions on Shuup, the subscriptions can be broken out to different tiers. So you can have like a silver, gold, platinum plans, for example, and you can control the number of products vendors are able to create under each different plan. And we can build other types of logic limiting the behavior of vendors based on their subscription value. Additionally, those subscriptions can be charged on a daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly basis, also with an initial setup fee as well. So you get quite a bit of functionality with the vendor plans.
Do you mind reading the question out loud?
Yeah, I can read the question. Is there a possibility for CRM integration, Salesforce, to help manage the customers in a single environment? Yes, we can do these CRM upgrades where you can connect into HubSpot or Salesforce or Zoho. So it really depends on the experience that you want to have. If you want to have all of the UI logic and experience in one platform, these integrations can be very advanced. But if you want to simply build a more or less if you're willing to use the two interfaces of Salesforce and Shuup, for example, we can connect the two through REST APIs and webhooks, where we can sync the product data, the contact data, the order data, customer value, et cetera, these types of ideas, and we can pass them dynamically back and forth from Salesforce or HubSpot. Yep, no problem. He said thank you, by the way, everyone.
Thank you. It's real nice talking to you, and we really like when people ask questions, because sometimes we rush through these webinars and things make sense to us because we know the product, but not necessarily that sometimes they make sense to other people for whom this is a completely new topic, and they'd like to maybe stop at some point and concentrate in more detail, on a certain topic, and we'll be happy to do that. It's just that we only have that much time in our webcast, and of course we're trying to cover this quite wide topic of how to make your marketplace a success. And of course there's so much more to be said and so much more to be done and taken into account, but I specifically asked Wes to concentrate on the most important things in his opinion, and what future multi-vendor shop owners should keep in mind when communicating to developers and project managers and just starting to plan their marketplaces.
Yeah.
So please do ask us questions. Please email us questions anytime of the day and night, and we'll get to you. And of course, we'll answer your questions in detail.
Yeah. Well, if there aren't any other questions from the group, I really appreciate the opportunity to come back on to discuss more about Shuup. I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to add before we close?
I think that's it. I think we did pretty good, and we discussed our agenda in detail. And I think we can, at this point, thank everybody for participating and attending our webcast. And we hope to see you again next week. And email us and request a demo if you want to know more about the platform. We'll be happy to talk to you.
Yeah, great. All right. Well, I hope everyone has a good day or a good evening or a good morning wherever you are in the world. And we'll see you next week on the next session. Actually, what are we talking about next week?
Next week, we actually have a very interesting case, because we'll be talking to a customer of ours, Shuup's customer, and he'll be sharing his success story and how he built and planned his marketplace and what his business is about. And he'll give some recommendations to people who are planning their marketplaces. And we'll, shed some more light on the topic.
Okay. That's going to be a good one. All right. Well, we're going to take off, and we'll catch everyone next week.
See you.